What's up, cows? It's your favorite Nephilim, back at it again with another React Andy. This time round, apparently Depressed Nosagi made a video about the VTuber Mean Girl epidemic, with the Cinder and Shy Lily at the front of it. So I'm pretty sure this is about, like, Cinder, at the very least. I mean, it's most definitely about Cinder at the very least. But let's be real, let's be honest, Cinder's, like, you know, the Cinder hate was kind of forced, kind of overwhelmingly forced. There's another word I was thinking of, but it just, I couldn't think of it. It didn't come out. But, yeah, really what she did, I mean, she did act like a bitch, but at the same time, though, Nanoless exposed herself that, you know, she was also a bit of a bitch. And then Cinder made a document basically exposing Nanoless and Shy Lily for just also being, you know, bad friends, too. But nobody cared because, well, Cinder took like 4 or 5 months to come out with that document. And by the time that, you know, it was all revealed, it was also too wordy. What was it? Like 1,000 pages? Nobody really read it. Nobody wanted to read it. Very few people even covered it just because there was so much to go through. It's like forcing somebody that's a Game of Thrones fan to read through, like, the last 2 Harry Potter books. Like, yeah, of course they're not going to be interested. What? Anyways, let's see what Mr. Nosagi over here has to say.
There is no one who hates women more than other women.
It's a fact. It's not a saying, it's just a fact.
And at first glance, you might think that's very sexist, and maybe
no, it's just a fact.
It's a very generalized quote, within the same realm as
a generalized quote, that's a fact.
Never ask a white supremacist the color of their girlfriend. I think both are funny, but I think both also has a bit of truth in them, especially in the fierce, mentally ill, female-dominated industry that is VTubing. See, in VTubing, there are 2 types of Google Docs. X-person is a sex pest, usually a man, or X-person is a bully, usually a woman. Thus, why mean girls are a hot topic trend these days. And while we usually want to take the sex pest allegations a lot more seriously, the mean girl allegations are a lot more fun to talk about.
Well, yeah, because it's not serious. It's not like we're talking about actual criminal activity or possible criminal activity. Being a sex pest is near criminal activity versus, oh, this woman was mean on the internet. That's L.
Because not only can we shit on the mean girl, we can also have the right to be misogynist. The idea that Google Dockies exposing other creators being bullies are so common in this space is very interesting to me. In fact, it's a lot more common than the Twitch streamer culture. When it comes to the Twitch streamer sphere...
Hey, wait a minute. Isn't that the woman that, like, got a man kicked from a $40,000 tournament just because he wanted to win? Oh, that is. You know, isn't that so cute? She's a face cam streamer, but she went on Uwu. She did the Uwu PNG mode, so she would garner more sympathy. How adorable! How precious!
It's very interesting to me. In fact, it's a lot more common than the Twitch streamer culture. When it comes to the Twitch streamer sphere, I've noticed that people that don't like each other usually just don't talk to each other or proactively shits on them in public.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. If you don't like someone, either don't talk about them or just, again, there's nothing wrong with shit on them too. And if they decide not to piss on you back, that's up to them. But they're not allowed to cry about it. Now shit on somebody privately, that's L. But if you do it, of course, publicly and privately, you know, who cares? Their
beef are for the world to see and consume popcorns too. In VTubing, it's a lot more hush-hush or more passive-aggressive, especially if it's coming from a generally...
No, it's only passive aggressive. If you're on one specific side of the quote unquote VTuber community. The other side of the VTuber community, no, there's Google Dockies and expose tweets on a daily basis. But go off, I guess.
Respected content creator. Nobody usually wants to say anything until a Google Dockie comes out, then all of a sudden, like goddamn locusts, everyone reveals that they actually had some bad experience or two. Everyone actually has a problem with them. And while I understand where this silence comes from if NDAs are involved, but a lot of the time NDAs aren't actually involved, or aren't doing jack shit in these situations. I'm not saying that VTubers have more beef against each other than normal Twitch streamers, but I am saying that how they go about their beef is very unique. And one has to wonder why this is. Is it because the consequences have a splashback effect? Or is there something a little deeper?
Well, I mean, yeah. There is also a splashback effect of, you know, the person that publicly pisses on the other person's allowed to piss on them back. And, you know, whatever experience they had that was, negative in any way, it's not going to really have as much validity in comparison to one person having a whole bunch of evidence with evidence. Whole bunch of evidence with evidence. That doesn't, I'm stupid. A whole bunch of problems with evidence about said person. That's different. Because then when the person speaks up now that actually seems like they have some evidence, that person who didn't have evidence is now being backed up by this other person who has the evidence for their situation.
So I tried to do a little thought experiment, figure out the unique factors that makes VTubing different, and whether or not those factors would actually contribute to this very unique phenomenon. And there's really only 2 factors, actually 3 factors, that separate the regular Twitch streamer and VTuber culture. The inherent anonymity present in the roleplay and anime aspect, the fact that the industry...
If you're still role-playing in current year, you're corny, bro. I mean, go for it, but you're still like the corniest tuber on the planet.
And the fact that it's dominated by women. And I've come to a conclusion that it's these very same factors that actually are the reason for the bullying epidemic. Brace yourself. This is going to be a very, very weird video. But before we continue, may I interest you in other videos not meant for the peasants to see? In that case, I recommend you join my channel content.
Nah, I'm good, bro.
Ad-free. And besides, you help me keep creating banger thing, consider giving it to me instead of a gun of anti-misogyny. So, thank you, and let's go back to the video. Okay, I am not a sexist. In fact, I'm a paragon of anti-misogyny. Believe me, I
am not sexist. My brother in Christ, we're all little. There's nothing wrong with it. Listen, dudes have been burned by women more than plenty of times. There are plenty of women that have been burned by dudes plenty of time. It is perfectly fine if every single man on the planet is a little misogynistic. It's perfectly fine if every woman on the planet is a little misandrist. Because we've all had those experiences where we've felt like we've been burned more by the opposite sex than we have by the same sex. I believe it's just because we are inherently different creatures. We do not have the same genitalia. We do not have the same thinking processes. We do not have the same emotional capacity or the same emotional language even. So, yeah, there's nothing wrong with being misogynistic or misandrist.
Women that are friends. Even my roommate is a woman. Let's talk about the method of attack VTubers usually employ against each other. Google Dockies. As I have mentioned, a lot of rumor mongering and Google Docs that goes around men usually talk about their sex-pesty behavior. The most recent big one is the case of Real Kamana.
I've never heard this person before, but okay. FaZe? Was bro actually part of FaZe, or was he doing it ironically?
A wannabe VTuber CEO that turned out to leverage his connections, falsify or exaggerate his net
wannabe VTuber CEO. What in the corner?
To appear more authoritative and appealing to work with, and also using this perceived power to try and get under women's pants. It's very predictable, to be honest. From a sex-pest freak's perspective, the logic is simple. If you want a fish, go where the fishes are. But again, among VTubers themselves, it's that they're bullies or mean girls. And more often than not, a lot of victims of these mean girls are not who and what they
Nanoless, it was a kind of a victim, but at the same time, though, she was also a perpetrator.
Depict they are. Oftentimes, from the many Google Docs that we've read through in the past years alone, especially accounting the responses against said docs, there is a concerning number of them where the authors of these docies are not the victims that they claim that they are. That they're not clean of the same hostile behaviors that they try to call out, or perhaps they omit information or exaggerate events to paint.
At least bro was actually bringing up the Sykkuno, where the woman instigated the whole thing. And she's the one that tried to bring Sykkuno's girlfriend to the public limelight when she wanted to keep it private. I still think she's stupid, though. Sykkuno's girlfriend is still a moron for deciding to stick with him, but... what else am I gonna do? I'm not gonna intervene. That ain't my problem.
A worse picture. This is why we've gotten a little bit critical of them. But we're not here to talk about the flawed docky creators, but rather the nature of these dockies. And there's a trend that I've noticed. Most, if not all of these hostile behaviors are not necessarily done via public callouts and open verbal shitting on stream like what many Twitch streamers do. Instead, it's a lot more subtle and insidious. A little something called relational aggression, otherwise known as social aggression. It's a type of psychological bullying where instead of physical or verbal harm that men usually employ, they instead damage a person's relationship.
Okay, psychology major.
Reputations, and platform. It usually comes in the form of spreading false rumors, gossiping, social exclusion, or active gaslighting, among many others. It's basically the domain expansion of manipulation tactics. Now, men are...
Alright, man. Are we for real? Are we like... This is... this is entering microaggression territory. It's so corny.
very much capable of relational aggression, but women do it more and do it slightly more aggressively. Studies have shown that more often than not, women actually employ this behavior. Though I should let you know for the sake of good faith that a lot of the research about this also recognize that other factors may impact the results of these studies, such as home life, school environment, and peers. Ages are
Wow, no way. People that have different lives do things for different reasons? No way. That's crazy.
also wide, ranging from age 7 to college years. Some studies also suggest that there's no real difference, but there are a lot more studies suggesting that it does, especially in their adolescence. In fact, VTubing itself should be a case study in of itself on this specific topic. In any case, let's break down why VTubing is like this. Again, there are 3 factors that make this a common trend in the industry, starting with the fact that VTubing is smaller. In a small pond, there can really only be so much food for the big fishes to eat. One of the minor issues are of the character design mixing.
I don't know if VTubing's smaller anymore, man. I'd say it's like 50-50 nowadays between whether or not someone is a VTuber or they're a flesh streamer. I don't know. I feel like there's way more VTubers than there are flesh streamers nowadays. At least an overwhelmingly greater amount of smaller VTubers than there are like smaller flesh streamers.
In terms of aesthetics, design elements that have a universal appeal are few and far between.
But that's just a vibe. There is no facts or evidence to prove what I'm saying.
And can leave a smaller pool of combinations for VTubers to want to use, whether they like it themselves or because they think it's the best business trend. And because multiple VTubers use these design elements, they will look at other people having the same and fucking resent them. Seriously, something that petty is a legit excuse for even a big VTuber to get upset.
I think more than anything, it's just people wanting to pick fights because they have such fantastic lives and such great lives that aren't filled with any form of drama that they need to create drama. And I think that's more it than anything. It's not about people actually seeing themselves in these similar designs. It's literally just them being upset because they have nothing better to do in their life than be upset and create problems for themselves.
The most notorious example I can think of is
I mean, let's be real. Let's be honest. Let's be real honest. Cinder and Spite are extremely similar. Because it's kind of the same idea, but at the same time, though, what is really wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. That's no different than being upset that you're seeing somebody wear the exact same t-shirt at a convention, at anywhere. That's like going, it's like going out in public and being upset that this woman that you just happened to meet on the street has the exact same, like, ripped jeans as you that they bought. Oh, wow. What a surprise. What a shock. The 7 billion people have similar ideas across the planet. I don't even understand why Cinder's here, man. I mean, not Cinder, Seraphina. Why is Seraphina here? She's just a fox. Whereas, like, Spite and Cinder, they're both demon foxes. And they both have, like, flames a part of their design, but for whatever reason, why did you choose a PNG for Cinder? Then again, there's also the idea that, like, Cinder did supposedly copy Spite. And that could be completely circumstantial, but again, they are both demon foxes. It's very possible they had, like, the same-ish ideas, and it's also very possible that Cinder did copy Spite from the amount of evidence that there is against that, or for that.
Legit the Silverveil, Spite, and Cinder situation, where it turns out Silverveil's audience and Silver herself, allegedly, did not like Cinder for having formerly the same design elements to a point of being, allegedly, harassed by said fans. Cinder, in turn, and failing the generational trauma check, also did not like Spite for having the same design elements. A smaller case would be Powder blasting this VTuber Lily for copycatting their white-haired Violet Elf design. People will lambast on other people for looking similar to each other. Small indies tend to do this a lot more than others though. But at the same time, maybe there is some kind of olive branch I can extend to the people that do get copied or do copy. Because look at me, I'm literally named the Press Nusagi. Even if it was supposed to just be a placeholder, I took that fucking name because I was Pecora's goonest soldier. And I took massive inspirations from Omega Alpha because she embodied everything I liked from a character design perspective.
Yeah, when people are inspired by the same thing too, they often are, you know, they're creating something similar. It's like anybody that is inspired to make movies of the Odyssey, they usually make something similar to what's inside the book of the Odyssey because, wow, they read the same thing. They like the same thing. And they just had slightly different, like, ways they imagined things go happening in the book. Crazy. That's why there's, like, 5 different adaptations. Decent ones of, like, The Odyssey.
Perspective and aesthetic. So I'm not necessarily guilt-free from this. But again,
actually, there's just 5 different adaptations, period.
Minor. In the grand scheme of things, the copycat issue is a unique culture thing, but
well, I mean, it's kind of funny that you... Hold on. You really skimmed over that one, buddy.
So I'm not necessarily guilt-free from this. But again...
Bro really skimmed over that one. I mean, there quite literally was a case between this like, purple woman and Shy Lily. She literally went on stream with Alara and then kind of... I mean, she kind of admitted that she was kind of copying Shy Lily's design. I mean, what are we talking about? She admitted it herself that she was doing it, but alright, go off, I guess.
Just minor.
Who knows? Maybe I'm incorrect. Maybe I don't even remember. Although the name Shy Lily and Small Lola, that is a bit corny, bro. It's just a name. It's not even close. Oh, because her name's Small Lola, Shy Lily, bro. I mean, that's a bit of a stretch. There's a lot... It's a lot harder to come up with a unique name that sounds good. Oh my fucking god.